I'm Judy Shaw for NYSE Floor Talk. Joining me today is John Pleuger. He is CEO and President of Air Lease. John, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Now, a quick note to our viewers, this interview is for informational purposes only. The NYSE doesn't recommend any investments or investment strategies. Now, John, Air Lease started from a clean sheet of paper in 2010, and you went public a year later in 2011. And now you're in your 10th year as a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, tell me, what are some of the key accomplishments that you've achieved over the past 10 years?
Thanks. Well, listen, it's been a great 10 years for us as a listed company. And as you pointed out, we went public just about a year after the company was founded. So from clean sheet of paper, we've now been able to build in 10 short years one of the world's leading top 3 or 4 global leasing companies. Now with about 800 aircraft between what we own in our fleet, what we manage, what we have on firm order and option, about 800 airplanes. In fact, sitting here today, the largest order book of any lessor on the planet. In addition, we've been able to now broaden our business. We're leasing to airlines across 60 different countries. We have a tremendous team, a tremendous platform. Some of the other significant achievements is a couple of years, just really 2 years after we went public, we achieved the first investment grade rating for our company. We were told by S&P that was the quickest track from startup to investment grade that they've ever followed. And so that has really helped us achieve a tremendously efficient and low cost debt financing. In fact, the lowest cost of composite financing of any publicly traded leasing company. And that gives us a lot of funding advantage when we buy our aircraft. We've also been able to enjoy the highest margins of any publicly traded aircraft lessor since that time. And I think it all goes down to our fundamental business premise, which is brand new airplanes ordered under large scale purchase agreements, keeping the fleet young, and therefore very attractive, even in these very, very difficult times. I also believe that we've achieved the highest profit per employee and the highest number of assets per employee dollar-wise of anybody in our space. So I think we've had a lot of fun, noticeable achievements, and all of our employees and the whole board and everybody's a shareholder in the company. So we're really pleased with how far we've come, and even more excited about where we're going.
Oh, well, you've definitely had very successful past 10 years. So now 2021 and 2020 really have been interesting times for the aviation industry with the pandemic. What role is Air Lease playing in the recovery of the airline industry, and what do you see happening for the aviation industry from here?
Well, I think we've played a very strong role in the recovery. We at Air Lease, we ended the year with an all-time high at our liquidity. And so we've been doing a lot of things. We've been doing some sale leaseback transactions to give cash to our customers as we're buying aircraft. And at the same time, in that transaction, we are placing aircraft from our order book as well. We've helped our customers by substituting our aircraft when they've actually said they needed aircraft earlier in 23 or 24 or 22, as opposed to taking it from their order book if they have a direct order book with the customer. So again, it's relieving them of those capital expenditures in the next year, 2 or 3, which is really, really time critical. And of course, we've helped globally, as most lessors have, in providing our capital, doing some restructuring, some deferments as needed. The airline industry has been absolutely just hammered. I mean, no one ever could have predicted the scope and the magnitude of how that's been impacted. We've also been working proactively and strategically with our airline customers, despite the horrific difficulties that the airline industry is in. It's a wonderful, despite the timing, it is a wonderful opportunity to right-size their fleet, and very importantly, to be able to get young, the most modern, fuel-efficient, environmentally friendly aircraft into their fleet as they park the oldest units, which may not fly again. So despite the difficulties in the industry, it is an opportunity for the airlines to further their ESG goals, and that's an incredibly important aspect going forward. And we've been very much involved in the forward planning with airlines and helping them do that. So, leasing is now 50% of the global aircraft marketplace, 50%. And most people think it's going to climb higher. And for many good reasons. And the simplest today is, of course, that the lessors have capital. And the airlines have tended to draw on all the capital resources that they have, and they're getting tapped out. But they've been very resilient, and they've, in many cases, gotten tremendous government support. And the resilience and the survivability of this industry, name me one other industry that could survive 40, 50, 60, 70, 80% plunges in cash and revenue for a prolonged period of time and continue to do well and survive. So the whole industry is incredibly important for global commerce, as most of the governments worldwide have recognized in their support.
All right, now you mentioned sustainability.
Yes.
We all know that it's become increasingly important for companies globally, including the airline industry.
Yes.
What is Air Lease doing to support the airline industry in achieving its goals regarding environmental sustainability? And has the focus accelerated during COVID-19?
Well, the single biggest thing that an airline can do to improve its environmental friendliness and environmental footprint is to operate the most modern, fuel-efficient aircraft possible. It's not just fuel efficiency, but the modern engines burn less NOx emissions per pound of fuel consumed than ever before. And that's all we have on order is the most young fuel efficient aircraft. And so it's the single biggest ticket and pathway to help the airlines achieve their environmental goals. In fact, a lot of the government support to many airlines across the globe has been financially contingent upon them continuing this path on refleeting with the most newest environmentally friendly aircraft that can be had. So that is a very great role that we play, and it's something we're very proud of. And it's the single biggest thing that an airline can do. Certain things airlines just have no control over. For example, things people don't think about is like ATC routing. And you're flying into any place, New York or any major city, and you get vectored all over the sky, and instead of going from here to there directly, you go 10 different ways from Tuesday. That's something that really the airlines can't do much about. That's more towards the governments. But the refleeting with these fuel efficient aircraft, which by any measurements are anywhere from 20 to 30+% more fuel efficient than the aircraft they replace, is really critical. And we're very proud to be able to provide that to our airline customers.
All right. And finally, John, as you look ahead, what keeps you passionate about your job as CEO? And what's the future of Air Lease Corporation?
Look, I love this business. I love this industry. It comes down to very basics. Ever since I was a little toddler, I just loved airplanes. I played with them, built them, did everything about them, learned to fly as soon as I could, went flying with my uncle. And it's just that fundamental passion that has driven this, and now the love of the airline industry. And, I really do believe that the airline industry improves the human condition. It is how people get together, whether it's business or friends, relatives. It's connecting people. It is goods and services being transported in the bellies of all these passenger airplanes and in dedicated flavors. It's how the globe functions. So despite the current quarantines, et cetera, that are there, it is a fundamental human need and interest to travel and to meet people. And so all of these things just continue to inspire me, as does working with our team. Most of our team I've worked with for many, many years, and just what a great group of really smart, dedicated folks, and the industry colleagues. I'm blessed to be able to travel the world and meet people in different cultures and help them with their fleet needs. And so, the industry needs to have a little bit better breathing room in terms of the international travel restrictions in order to fully recover in that international travel space. But progress is being made. You've read about things like the vaccine passports and other initiatives. I think that's coming, and I think there is a huge pent-up demand for people to travel, and we are there to serve that.
Well, John, your passion is definitely very clear. It's been wonderful to talk with you. Thank you so much for joining me on NYSE Floor Talk.
Well, thank you. I always enjoy it. Appreciate it.